It's time to introduce the next guest speaker for our SME session, Mr. Suresh Pereira, who is the business owner of Solair Solar Energy Systems and Components. I would like to give you all a brief introduction and background about Mr. Suresh. He was born in Moratur and lived his childhood in Panadura. He has completed his primary education in St. Sebastian College in Moratur and later on secondary education in St. Peter's College, Colombo. He has obtained his professional qualifications from Zimbabwe and also SIM, UK. He has started his career in 1991 as an assistant sales manager of Gordon Fraser Company, which was a subsidiary of John Keel's Holding. So 1.5 years into that, he was recruited by a principal company based in Australia to develop the Middle Eastern market base and to be based in Cyprus. So after completing 1 year in Cyprus, he has moved to Dubai and UAE. In 1994, he started his employment with Majid Al Futtaim, who was the distributor for the same product in UAE and worked for the company for 8 years. After the death of the son of Majid Al Futtaim, the department he was working under was moved under a different leadership, which was the triggering point at his new venture. So without going into more detail, I would call upon Mr. Suresh, who is here to address us and let us know his story, his success story, and take us through that. Mr. Suresh, over to you.
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to tell my story. I don't know whether it's a long or short story or whether it is interesting. I can't remember the lady's name, but she gave a brief of how I started. I'll continue from where it was. And after the unfortunate death of Mr. Majid Al Futtaim's 2 children, not one, 2 children in probably a span of a year, we were given the option of the company was transferred, which was called MEF Telecom. It was transferred to the son who was controlling that company, his good friend. And we were given the option of deciding whether we want to continue with it or whether to break off. And I was given the option of whether I want to take over the control of the company and run the business. And that all came because if I go back again from John Keel's, I was recruited by the company I was representing, which was an Australian company. They gave me the opportunity to come to Cyprus because of the relationship, the business development or whatever that I had. I was fortunate enough to get that opportunity. And then when this break came, when the choice of deciding whether we are continuing with the new owners or whether we are going to separate, then the company again came up and said, okay, they will back me up if I want, start on your own. And that is how I decided, okay, let me move a step ahead and start on my own. And that's how Solair Solar Energy started. At that time when I started, of course, I did not have a capital. It was very little, which could probably survive. I could maybe survive. I couldn't bring the equipment because the equipment that I deal with is quite extensive in pricing. And again, the companies that I work with, the principals stepped in and they said, no problem. We will fund the projects for you and then continue with it. And that's how I started developing. Initially, when I started, it was me and another 2 gentlemen who started because we didn't have much manpower or the finances to develop the manpower. So I had to do the financing, the accounting, I had to do the sales, I had to do the office administration along with my other colleague. Then the installation of the equipment, we had to do it, plus we had to do the servicing of the equipment. So all that area had to be covered. And yes, it was tough, but I am happy that I did it because today nobody can tell me in my company that this particular thing cannot be done. because I have done it. They cannot tell me that the installation cannot be done. They cannot tell me that the sales cannot be done. They cannot tell me that the accounting cannot be done in a particular way. Maybe I'm not doing the proper accounting or the professional accounting as a proper accounting person would do. But I have now got an accountant and financial controller who will do the business for me. But they cannot tell me that this cannot be done because I have done it. At that time, yes, we started with 2 people, and again there were a lot of my clients who still I associate with and have a relationship with 22 years later, because when I started in 94 it was almost 22, so those clients still come with me and have been giving me business and was supporting me, and it developed into a level where now I have about 18 to 20 staff. Of course, now I'm too old, I don't go to sites for installations, I go occasionally. But sales I do with my own, I still service my old clients who supported me before. And accounts, I have a separate team. But in all that, one thing that I would say that is, I can tell that it was a little bit of luck, but it was mainly, I would always tell that it was the professional approach and which I always maintain, the service, the relationship with the clients, and the honesty that you develop with your partners and your clients. I have always maintained it, and that is one of my primary instruction to all my staff, that the service to the clients, no matter what, even if you lose the business, maintain that service. Even if you lose money, we may do the project at a loss, but I will still have that client because the client knows we have serviced him. And the reason that all my suppliers have stuck with me and have been supporting me over the period of 20 odd years is because we have had so much of a good relationship and an honest relationship. Honesty is primary. And in between, I had a personal tragedy in my life, which in 2002, soon after moving from Majid Al Futtaim, one of my youngest son fell extremely sick, and I had to devote my time towards him. He had to undergo some treatment, and that took about 2.5 years, and unfortunately I lost him. But within that period, I knew I wouldn't be able to run the business. I had to choose whether I was going to do my business or my son's treatment, and I gave the option to all my suppliers, including some of my staff, saying if you all want, you all could find another job, and my suppliers, if they want, they could find another agent. And thank God, maybe because of the honest relationship I had, all of them said, no, we will wait for you, you do your treatment, and then you come back, we will stick with you. And all of them have been sticking with me and working with me. Maybe they see something good in me, I don't know. But that is a very important thing I need to tell, because that is how I have developed myself. And 2006 I lost him. And again I had decided that no, enough is enough, I'm going back and I'll do something in Sri Lanka. But I told my customers, and 2 particular customers in particular. One, he's a retired colonel in the brigadier in the army, in the UAE Defense Forces, whom I have known since 1993, who was a customer and then became a friend. And the other person is the father of the current economic minister, His Highness Sultan Nasser Mansouri, his father, Said bin Nasser Mansouri. He is about 85, 86 years old now. He was my first customer. When I told both of them, they said, look, you have a choice. What you have lost, yes, we have also lost. I mean, later on I realized that when they told their personal story, they also have had certain tragedies in their family. I'm sure most of us have had. If you look at the current situation in the country, I just called my father 2 days ago and he said, look, one of my sister's good friends, whole family got wiped off. So everybody has a tragedy in some way or the other, but it's how we go on, move on from there onwards. So he said, look, you have two options. Both of them said, you can go back and do something. If you have a business where you can, same opportunity to continue, you can do it up. Or you have something which you have developed, let us help you out, let us support you, and you carry on so that I have 2 more children to support them. And that is when I decided, okay, let me stay back and start again. And it was actually from 2008 that I started really moving the business and developing it. And then have come up to this level. But in all of those which I have come across is that I don't need to tell you all may be already aware of it. If whatever you do in whatever profession or field you are in, always give you 100%. You cannot go wrong. Always be honest to yourself. If you be honest to yourself, you will always be honest to your job and to your profession. It automatically comes. And do things according to your heart, your mind will tell you whether you are doing something correct, whether you are doing something wrong. These 3 things I have always followed. And I have always told my company, do this. And that is what we have been sort of developing. Of course, coming to my business side, we try to promote green energy in terms of, let it be solar, heat recovery, waste heat recovery, or any of those kind of facility equipment. So we do the development of the product, we do the design, and we do installation of the systems, and of course the last part is the servicing, which we do. Now I tend to choose my projects because I prefer to do a complete design of the system and have that satisfaction that I have done something unique. So most of my projects are not copy-paste of each of the projects. It is a different design, and I try to improve on the system with the mind of giving a better solution to the customer. So that is how we always try to do the development of the system and the marketing of the products. I've been here for overall for 22 years. From 1994. For a brief, I was in Cyprus for 1 year. And I have 2 kids, with the one that I lost is 3. The eldest graduated about 3 years ago from Washington State University. He's a mechanical engineer and now attached to Mass Innovations as a robotics engineer. The second one again graduated from the same university. He wanted to follow the brother. He is also a mechanical engineer, and he's going back this August for his postgraduate masters, and he decided to go with energy, not green energy, but nuclear, thermal, and hydro energy. I don't know why he chose that, but he selected that section. My wife was an accountant, but she's now a housewife. She has been always a housewife. Since we got married and had our first kid, she decided to leave the job. And I've been looking after the kids. So she has been the the main backbone of the family, where she's been running keeping the kids together and educating them, giving their discipline. I've been here most of the time. They were here for a short period of time, but went back to Sri Lanka because, no offense with the educational system here, but in my opinion, I thought it was always better to have a Sri Lankan educational system. And when I say education, it's not only, I don't look at the education in terms of the paper qualification you get. It's also the association you have with people, with the society. In Sri Lanka, you meet a drug dealer's child in your school maybe, the poor person's child, the most richest person's child, the average child. If you go in the bus, you may associate everybody. And that should be part of your life as well. I'm not saying that you should send your children back, but this was my personal choice. And according to what I feel, yes, I have lost their childhood to a certain extent, yes. But I put their primary well-being and decided with my wife that this was the best choice to do. And when I asked them, they say, yeah, what we have done is good. And that's why even after graduating from US, they got job opportunities, but they said, no, we're going back to Sri Lanka and going back to the roots, and they're working there. So this is my probably short story of how I have come. And if there are any questions or anything that I would like me to answer, I will do.
Yeah, we'll open it up to our level partners. Any questions anyone has? Maybe I'll start off. That's not what I meant. In terms of, you have had a very long journey and having had personal challenges as well. So when it comes to starting this business and having a very strong relationship with the suppliers and succeeding, so anything difficult when it came to managing your business when it's starting up? Any examples you could share with us?
No business will be, a startup business will not have challenges in terms of financial and equipment wise. Yes, I had a lot of challenges. There were months where I had to, withdraw from cash from my credit card to pay the salaries. But I always paid the salaries because I believe when I was working for John Case, I'm always proud of it. And when I was working for Majid Al Futem, I've always been proud of it. We used to get the salary before the end of the month. By the 25th, we used to get the salary. At that time, Ken Balendra was the chairman of the company. And I was always proud of it. And I make it to be proud that my people, my staff could tell the same thing. So I always, from the day I started, I always made sure that before the end of the month they got the salaries. So it was a challenge. I used to withdraw from my credit card and pay. I paid finance charges and various things. But I made it a point when I started my business that I will always try not to take a bank loan. No offense to any bankers here, but my evaluation of the economics was that here if you take a bank loan, you pay 20%, 22% right down on interest. Now you make 22% interest, you have to have your profit, gross profit 22% plus, just to break even. And you look at it that way. To make a net profit, you have to have 22% plus your overheads, which is maybe 15, 17%, you're talking about 35, 40%. That is only to break even without having a loss in the company. And at that, if you try to sell a product, any product, you're out of the market. So I always have tried to manage myself without any bank loans. And so far, thank God, I have been able to succeed with it. And today I buy my equipment, paying all my suppliers 100% in cash. I mean, cash means transferring TT. I pay my local suppliers, everybody. So I am proud today, though I am a small business, companies like Barville International, which is one of the biggest shipping companies here, if I tell them today, I need a shipment cleared, I will get it cleared. Because they know they get their payment on time or before time. If I tell my supplier today in US or in Germany or in Italy, though I have been working with them for 22 years, if I tell them I need equipment immediately, all of the projects will be stopped and my equipment will be supplied because they know they get their cash. I mean, as a business person, that is what you need. You need the assurance that you will be paid back. So, and you serve those customers better if you get paid. So I work it in that way. The same way with my customers, if they are good paymasters with me, I make sure that they are we categorize our customers into A, B, C categories. A being the top people, and B being the delayed payments, and C being unreliable. So we categorize them and then accordingly service them. So I'm not sure whether I answered your question properly.
Yes, thank you. Any questions for us? I guess I'll go for the next question. In terms of when you started off the business, the triggering point was where you had uncertainty. But when you moved in here and now after so many years in the operation, so when you look back, how satisfied are you, or like where you had the target you had in mind versus where you are right now? How do you feel about your achievements?
Achievements, okay, you could always do a little bit better. But I have always tried to achieve my targets, which I have set upon. And that ability also came along with, and that we don't know what our capabilities are. All of us are equal, and all of us have a tremendous amount of capabilities. It's only that we don't trigger it and we don't know our capabilities. And I knew my capability with the unfortunate incident of me having, my younger son falling sick. At that time, he went to Australia for some treatment, and it was very expensive. It was unbelievable. There were times that I could, for the treatment, my wife calls him and says, look, my wife was with him almost 1.5 years. And my other 2 children with my with my parents in Sri Lanka, they need also care, and they need certain requirements. And my wife used to call me and say, look, I need money because they need to do this treatment, and I don't have it. And that is the time I decided, okay, let me, see how I could work it out. And I did sales in such a way that even if you ask me how I did it, I don't know. I cannot tell you how. But I didn't do anything legal. I can tell you that. But I got the money to finance my son's treatment. And today, if you ask me, yes, I can do certain things. That triggered me, and then now if I look back, I know if I put my mind into something, I can achieve it. I can achieve it and I can do it. And that is why we also, being such a small company, we had the opportunity of, with my American company, the partners, we did the design for the airport, the Dubai Airport Terminal 3. for the air conditioning heat recovery system. And they executed, of course, I did not have that kind of finances to fund that project. So it was funded directly by the factory. They did it, and of course they gave me the commission that I had. It was required. So that kind of project, I mean, I wouldn't be even involved in it unless I had some kind of a, professional approach or some triggering point where they saw that there was something different in my company and the equipment we supply. And today we are also negotiating with the Sri Lankan government to do a project there. And it would be probably announced in the next couple of months, which would be also quite a sizable project. So all those have come because of the, yes, there's a little bit of luck, yes, always there's luck in it. But the hard work that I believe we have put as a team, not only me, my whole company, including the suppliers.
Hard work paid off. Yeah,
it always pays. That's why I always say you have to put your 100%. It doesn't matter, everybody cannot be a winner. There will be winners, there will be losers. But if you, in your heart, if you know that you have put your 100%, you cannot fail. You will have rough times, you will have hard times, but it is impossible that you can fail.
Your story is interesting and inspiring one. You have gone through a lot of challenges personally and professionally as well. And a key message which you said is to give you 100% commitment. So based on your experience, anything additional you think you could share with us in terms of being a small business entrepreneur, coming up as a leader and currently running a successful business?
Anyone, I mean, I always encourage people to start up their own, be their own boss. I always encourage them. Even my technician, I say, look, start something. You are your own boss, because if you earn even a 50 rupees or 50 dirhams, you are happy that you have earned it because of your hard earned, your sweat, your ability. But I'm not saying that you should all check up and start your own thing, no. But that is how my personal opinion view. And if you do that, if you start your own business or if you start your own, even if you are as team leaders or managers of a division, you have to be putting your 100%, and you, because the next person, especially if it is a company, I'm running a company. For the employees, they just, okay, if I lose my business, they say, thank you very much, you have been a good boss, thank you very much, we are going back. And they'll find some other job that works. But what am I going to do? I don't have anything to do. So you have to be 100% at it, especially when you are a small business. You have to know where your finances are going, and you have to have a control on where it goes and how it goes, not to cut corners and bring low quality equipment or low quality, no, that's not what I'm saying. The overall, you have to look at it and see, it may be better to put a Apple computer or a Sony or a thing, rather than buying a cheap Chinese computer and replace it 10 times. Because to replace it, you go 10 times, which means your labor, your manpower, your transportation, your time, all those are included. So in the end, you lose the customer because he's not satisfied. So always make sure that you put proper equipment. In anything, even if it is accounting, put a proper accounting package. Not that you have to go and maintain it regularly. Always do that. So the finances is very important. The marketing side, yes, you have to make sure that your sales team whom you are appointed bring results. And of course, for them to bring results, you have to have good products and you have to have the capability of the backing from your suppliers. And also the office general office staff, not that you have to be a Hitler or somebody with a gun pointing at each and everybody, no. You have to give them a little bit of freedom. Yes, I give my staff all the freedom. I say, look, you design your own way of working, but don't mess it up. Because if I try to impose my system of working to you, you will not work. It doesn't work because each one is unique. And I try to take that uniqueness out of each one and to develop it. So I give them a freedom, but I tell them, look, don't misuse your freedom. You misuse your freedom, then I put the rules and regulations which you will not be able to adhere to. So give them freedom, but at the same time monitor them. I know it's difficult, but you have to do that. Otherwise, within no time, before you know it, you have lost everything, and then get it back again, it's going to be impossible.
So looking back over your past, like, do you think at any point that you would have done things differently, looking at it now, after many years into operation? Maybe at the point of starting or initial stages of the business?
No, not. I wouldn't change anything that I had done. Of course, I would have had a little bit of more control with not all my staff, but with one or two of them. And unfortunately, it happened to be Sri Lankans. My friend Ayodhya knows about it, who cheated and went off. It doesn't matter. I mean, I always say, if I want to cheat you, you cannot stop it. There's no way you can. If a thief wants to get into your house, you can put all the controls. He will get into your house, he will steal you. So that's what it is. So maybe I gave a little bit of more freedom, which I have curtailed it a little bit now. But apart from that, the way I have done things, no, I wouldn't. The way I have operated the business or the way I have initially started the work, no, I wouldn't change it. I don't think I would change any of that systems moment.
You briefly mentioned about Mr. Ken Balendran.
Yeah.
So any other inspiration that you consider that helped you? What's your inspiration? What do you consider as your inspiration to be a successful entrepreneur?
That's my father. He's 86 years old. He was a telecommunication engineer. And from small days, what he told us was, even if you, in his own language, he said, if you just become a coolie and dig a drain, you dig it properly so that the water will flow through smoothly. Otherwise, it's a wastage to the mammoth that you use, the wastage to the soil that you remove out of the ground, and a wastage to the water, because you are going to create a stagnant water and you are going to create more health hazards than what you have done. So in basic language, what he said is, if you do something, do it right, otherwise don't do it at all. So always, sometimes if you will speak to my family, they will say, sometimes they say, okay, can you do it? I say no, because I know I cannot do it. If she says, sometimes my wife says, can you cook? I cannot cook for a toffee. So why should I do it? I said, no, I cannot. No, but you can do something. Oh, no, because I know I cannot do it right. So, yes, it sometimes creates a problem, but then always do something to the best of your ability. So my father, yes, I would say he's always been the inspiration, though he has not pushed me straight away as to, I'm always proud of him. And if you speak to most of the telecommunication engineers who have been in this country, or even in Sri Lanka, if you mention my father's name, they will tell you how he is. So he's always been there, and he has always said, call a spade a spade. If it is correct, you tell it is correct. If it is wrong, it's wrong. A right cannot be wrong, and a wrong cannot be shown as a right. So yes, sometimes with that, sometimes people don't like it. When you say you're wrong, people don't like it. But I can't help it. That's what I am. I am what I am. I don't try to portray something different to anybody else of what I am. I always say I'm unique. You're also unique. Always never try to show what you cannot be. That's the whole problem with the universe right now. They try to create imaginable portray different personalities, which you are not. So Ken Balendra also was inspirational in terms of how I run my company now is based on how he used to run John Keells at that time. And I can tell you, I'm sure you all would know, John Keells in the 1990s was one of, I'm sure Professor would tell you, one of the best companies that you could ever work.
Same thing I told them sometimes.
You cannot imagine a company to work with that, and I'm proud to have worked with them at that time. My immediate boss was L.R. Gunatilaka. I'm sure Professor would know him. He was one of the guys who, when they were playing All Ceylon, I think, who bowled Ted Dexter, the first ball. He was a Wesleyite. But my immediate boss, fantastic gentleman. I still communicate with him. Of course, I can't communicate with Ken Balendra. He's in a different level. But yes, he always gave the freedom to the people to do the business. Of course, he monitored it, yes. But with that, I mean, we used to love to go on, even on a Saturday to work. My wife used to ask me, why are you going on Saturday? Because we used to hang out, and I mean, that is what I try to show. The office should be more of a home. You should be eager to go to office than stay at home. I'm not saying that you have to fight with your wife and go to, no, not that. But you should be always eager to go to office. It's like school. You should be happy to go. And that's what I try to implement. And the same way, when maybe I was fortunate when I joined Majid Al Futtaim, again the same type of attitude. Of course, I never met Majid Al Futtaim himself. I met him when I visited his residence, but not personally. Whereas Ken Balendra was different. We used to have John Keells, what you call a night, or John Keells Sports Day or something like that, and he used to come and he used to sing all the dirty songs and have a beer. It's not the being too free, but he was with the community. So that, yes, I try to implement it with my staff as well. We have, with my small staff, I always have a Christmas get together. Or for Ramadan, we go out for iftar or something like that. And for Christmas, I make a hamper, because that is what I appreciated when I started, when I worked. So in my small way, I always try to do that. And those go a long way. It goes a long way. It's not the value of what you get, but the thought that matters. And yes, I impose some of those. In my business career, I use some of those which I have experienced from John Keells, this side.
And up to date, like you might have so many achievements and happy moments, but as a professional and a business owner, any key achievement which you think made you realize or make you feel that you achieved where you want to be or what you wanted to do? Any example that you could share with us?
Okay. When I started the solar business here, way back in 1993, nobody was even bothered about it. Even in Sri Lanka, when we started in 1992, yes, it was there since 1978. Sri Lanka had energy saving renewable energy since 1978. Nobody knows about it. But when we started it, if you look at my greatest achievement and my looking back, how capable the capabilities that I recognized in myself. When I started at John Keells, my manager, he gave me the catalog. He said, look, study this for 2 weeks. That I can still remember. 4th of January I started. And within that month of January, you have to sell 4 units. And in 1992, each unit was 140,000 rupees. Now, for a hot water system, if anybody is going to spend 140,000 rupees at that time, you can buy probably with, I think a vehicle was 200,000 at that time. It was half a vehicle. You must be dreaming. And I can still remember, on the 31st of January at 6:30 in the evening, I got not 4, I got 5. Because I went and spoke to, I'm sure you might be knowing, the customer who helped me out was to get the 3 out of the 5 was LPW Java. Then I think they were timber mills, they were on Armour Street. One very nice gentleman. I told him, look, I need to get this. He said, okay, we'll do it next month. I said, no, I need it this month. Please help me out. He said, okay. And maybe the trust that the way I associated him, or maybe the way I treated him, or the professional attitude I had, I was very honest with him. He gave me at 6 o'clock in the evening, I gave him the check. And I told the manager, you wait in office, I'm coming. The office closed at 4:30. And I gave it to him. And that time I realized, yeah, I can do it. And that was one. Then when I came back here, again the same thing. Nobody was bothered about solar at that time. And one of the VVIPs, the first exhibition I had, they looked at me, what is this? I said, this is a solar system. For what? You have electricity, you have hot water. We don't need that. We have enough of oil. And the same VVIP, 15 years later, there was an engineer who was with him, kept my card. My mobile has been the same mobile for the last 22 years. Called me up. Are you still with this? I said, yeah, I've been always with that, and I will always be with the same systems. Okay, come and install the system. Then when he recalled the incidences, I realized, okay, this was the particular person. I said, what happened? No, now it's changed, no? I said, yeah, okay, it changed, but that time you almost, when he told me that, I thought, okay, I'm doing something wrong here, But yes, I'm proud that maybe I am just a small triggering point for developing the systems here. I have done that. The same way I changed certain policies that are being developed now. The same thing even with the Sri Lankan net metering system that comes up now. I discussed this with Honorable Karu Jayasuriya when he was Minister of Power and Energy in 1994. Maybe it was not my implementation, but I gave him the documents. I gave him the same documents which were implemented in Germany. The same documents. So maybe he used it, maybe he didn't use it, I don't know. But at least I was thinking at that time. So I can be proud that I was thinking of way ahead of things that that's why I said I always try to do something unique and innovative which nobody else has thought of it. So that's what I always try to do. I'm not a scientist like professor, but if you put your mind, you can do anything. But I always try to do that in terms of development. So yes, I'm proud that I have been the pioneer in certain development of certain equipment, and which is followed now with some of the projects. Maybe I have not capitalized on it or made millions, doesn't matter, but the satisfaction is more than enough. So if you ask me, I have installed the first solar system in this region. I had done the first heat recovery system in this region, and now it is being followed. We did the first heat recovery air conditioning system, which is in the airport. So yes, those are some things that when I sit with my engineers who are back in US factory, I mean they have 29. Two of the engineers have 29 patents between them. They're brilliant engineers. Yes, I learned from them because because if you show, even with professor, if any of you all show that you all are keen to learn from him, he is going to take the time to teach you. But it is your duty to check with him. It's your duty to ask him, it may be wrong, it may be the most stupid question that it is there. There is nothing called stupid. There is nothing called foolish question. And I'm sure Professor will agree with me. If you ask that stupid question might have one word which is the triggering point which he will come and tell you. And the same thing I have done. If I give you an example, I just looked at one product which was there in the system, in the product range. I said, no, you can modify it. You can do something different. To have one system which can do two purposes. No, it's not possible. It's not possible. And then we sat together, Bruce with the vice president, sat with each other, and then I said, no, you can't do it. Then he looked at, anyway, we were having a discussion, and then he caught one thing that I told him. He said, look, let me look at it. And today that is the product that is being marketed in this country. So, and that is being used by the municipalities also, discussing to implement that system here, the heat recovery system. So, like that, there are certain things which, so nothing is stupid, nothing is foolish. You always ask a question. I always say, ask 3 questions, you will resolve your problem. Spend 3 more minutes, ask 3 questions, nothing more. 3 more extra questions and you will resolve your problem. So that's how I always try to work out.
Can I ask? No, I don't need. Thank you. I have actually 2 questions.
Yeah.
One is, now in Sri Lanka and all, if you see, the supplying to the grid is even possible and it seems to be much popular.
Yeah.
But having, the solar power 365 days here, literally, why it does not seems to be so popular in this part of the world? And then second question is, if we are going to buy some solar panels, how to identify a good one?
Second one is very important because there are, I'm sorry for my language, but I call them monkeys. There are a lot of people who duplicate things just to make a quick buck out of it. You get not only in Sri Lanka, you get it here, you get it everywhere in the world. You get a lot of duplicates. Same way, I'm sure with universities, if you look at the educational system, you get a lot of educational system which say, I always call them monkeys, I'm not ashamed to say that, who will say, oh, we do the same degree, same thing. Oh, it's not the same. So anyway, here, see, when you look at solar or in particular solar power, you have to always remember that solar systems, the power generation would have certain parameters for best performance. And the temperatures go higher than 45 degrees or 50 degrees, the efficiency drops drastically. So, in other words, this is a little bit of a downturn here. Of course, you can overcome it by having an extra cooling system and various cooling mechanisms to reduce that heat. The second here, why it is not getting, I mean, it's getting developed but not as popular as I would say, okay, in Sri Lanka where they have been installing it in most of the houses. Most of the people here expatriates. And until recently, most of the residences are rented. So you rent it out today, maybe in 2 years you have to shift. So I go to carry the whole thing and go back. It's not practical, and most of them are in flats. The government here is supporting, unlike I cannot tell you that much about the Sri Lankan government. Here they are putting, recently the Abu Dhabi government is putting the biggest solar power plant in the world, which is I think 200 megawatts. That's a huge power plant. The Dubai government has been promoting, Sheikh Mohammed has been promoting it in a big way. Not only solar but energy saving in coal. The government does it. And individual housing, yes, to a certain extent they are doing it, though you don't see it, because they are still trying to, I mean, you have to understand that when you look at the history of Sri Lanka and UAE amalgamated in 72, so it basically started in 72. Sri Lanka has a history of 2,000 odd years, and we claim to have 2,000 odd years history. Though we have not done anything from that long. We're just surviving on the kings and queens things that have been developed. Anyway, so they are still doing things. The net metering is going to happen here. They are still negotiating, they are doing certain parameters and things like that. It is taking a little time, but it will happen. And here in Dubai, what happens if it happens, it just takes off and it just booms. Whereas in other countries, it's a slow, gradual process. It takes time, but once it happens, it just booms out here. So it is happening here, but not in the big way of Sri Lanka. Yes, the other question is that how you identify the good suppliers. I'm not saying that Chinese are not good. You get very good Chinese products. You get very good Korean products. You get very good Taiwan products. You get very bad US, UK, Italian products. Don't go by the manufacturer of the country. It is a little bit difficult to identify because, I mean, most of them now what they do is they just give you a paper which shows beautiful figures, but in reality the performance is what you have to look at it. So always ask for a good product. We'll always have a third-party test certificate. A good product will always have a third-party test certificate. If you look at Apple or Sony, they will have a certificate as per ISO, or not ISO, as per BS or UL or some standard which is manufactured and that is certified. Of course, you can't ask Apple, give me the certificate. That's a world-renowned brand. But if it is an unknown brand or such as a mechanical equipment, you will always have, if you look at air conditioning system, you will always have a test certificate, a third-party test certificate. So always try to insist on it. It may not be for that particular model, but you will have a general certificate which will say, for instance, Solair is SRCC from US, Keymark from UK, TUV from Germany, SPF from Switzerland. So that company will be given a certificate saying that the company is manufacturing according to a certain standard. That should be good enough. And they do not give you certificate just for the sake of paying something, no. So always try to ask for third-party certificate, then you will be able. And you have to do your own studies. The internet is quite, well informed. If you type the brands and you can find out what are the brands, from where it comes, and you can go to these companies, these certification agencies, and download their certifications as well. You can do it now. So try to do that. Otherwise, yeah, you have a problem of, duplicates coming into the market. You cannot stop it. You cannot stop that. So.
That after that education after kids they came in to cover the secret behind that?
Nothing. The country. I always say, you cannot find I'm going out of the topic, but you cannot, being out of the country, I'm sure you have been out of the country for a long time, I know you, so you have been out of the country for a long time, maybe more than me or people. You have to be out of the country to appreciate the values of that country. And there is no other country on earth than Sri Lanka. It's not me who has told, there are so many of my friends, Emiratis, who have told me that. There is my former boss, who is now a good friend and partner of mine, David Wilton, who is Australian, who actually recruited me and brought me here. He always say, I need to go and have my hoppers and string hoppers in Sri Lanka. He was a guy who was there in Ken Balindra's office in John Case in 1992 when the Maradona bomb went off. He said, to hell with it, I'm going to do my meeting and then leave. We were there till 9:30 in the evening and then left. Again, he was there in 1993 when the floods were there. When the famous Colombo floods, all the houses were flooded. The chairman's house was also flooded in Colombo 7, but he said, no, I'll wait, do my work and go. So he loves the country. The country is a beautiful country. And why they came back is, that's why I said, I always wanted them to see the roots of Sri Lanka, the benefits of being Sri Lankan or living in Sri Lanka, because they have seen here. Two of them were born here. The elder one was 8 months, so he was more here than in Sri Lanka. They lived in US for 4 years or 5 years, actually 6 years, because the elder one stayed back. He was doing another internship till my second one graduated. They have seen. So it's all how they see particular countries. I'm not saying that Sri Lanka is, yes, Sri Lanka is the best country, but other countries are also good. It all depends on how you will feel comfortable in that country. It's not that they have to go back to Sri Lanka. If they feel comfortable in US, fine. If they feel comfortable here, fine. I feel comfortable working here, that's why I'm here. I always say if I go back to Sri Lanka and start working, and I'll murder somebody or somebody will murder me, one of the two, because I cannot work with the government. I'm sorry, but I'm going political, but that's what it is. So it's all depends on how you feel comfortable. It's all about how you feel comfortable. And my children felt very comfortable going back. They have their friends, they have friends here as well. They have still friends in US. They still call them, and they came, two guys came to Sri Lanka to visit them, and they were staying with us. But keep everything aside. Sri Lanka is a beautiful country. There is nothing like that country. It's only the people who ruin the country. When the people, we are also part of it. We ruin the country, not that the country ruins us. So I don't know whether that answers your questions.
Yeah, I think I have one question to ask. Now, your children are more or less settled in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Now, what is the business continuity plan that you have, like hand over it to the next generation?
Okay, I always, another thing I forgot to mention, that's a very good question because he brought it up. Yes, I have 2 children, they are mechanical engineers, so they would always want to, the next step is okay, they can take over business. I told them, when they went for graduation, I said, look, you can graduate, but don't think that you can come and take over my business, sit on the chair and take over my business. No. You go back to wherever you were, start from the scratch, work for minimum 2 years at ground level. Then when you come to my company, if you decide to come to my company, and they know it's very difficult to work with me. Especially being my children, I told them, they know that you'll have to start with you can maybe boss's son, but no, you'll have to start with the installations, maybe not work as hard as I worked or the amount of time I put, but they will have to learn that, then gradually come up, not to just come and sit on the chair. Most of the small businesses or most of these family-owned businesses make the mistake that they make is they bring the son. The father works so hard and brings it up, and when the son comes, he doesn't know what the root of the products or how it has been developed. He comes, sit on that and starts ruining everything. He wants the fast cars, he wants the flashy dresses and everything. And then before you know, the company has gone down. And I have seen it. In this country, I have seen it. The company I worked with for a brief when I was in Cyprus. Second one. And when I speak to one of the sons, who is local Emirati, he says, yes, he made mistake. I said, look, because as I told you, going back, the people who work for you, if you get honest person, yes, he will work honestly. But if you get somebody who is just passing time, he will make a quick buck and get out of it. And unfortunately, that's what happened with him. There were a lot of people who came, made a quick buck and went off. So I had told them, to answer your question, I told them, you want to come, you have to start minimum 2 years in a company, wherever it is, it doesn't matter. And then after that, once you know what is the difficulties of the work working as an employee, then you can come work in my company as an employee, learn the difficulties of the staff, how difficult it is for the installations, the heat, the difficulty, the lies that they say, all the shortcuts they take, and then after that so when you sit there, they cannot remote control, you can operate it. So that is what I have always said. So I have given them the option, and coming back to another, just a deviation from that, I have also from 2 years ago, I told you there were 2 guys who were working with me from the beginning, and they are still with me. And I have given a percentage of my company shares to my staff. So end of the year, as a profit share, I mean, it's not only my input, it's their input that gives me the profit. So I give a percentage to them as once we do the audit reports and the profits are declared, I give them a share of it. So they become part of the company as well. So that I always do. So depends. Maybe they may come and join, they may say, no, we are not interested. At the moment I said, look, this is how it has to be done. After 2 years, if you decide, then let's see. So at the moment that's what I have been planning to do.
What is the next stage or the next step of Solar Energy? I mean, what is your expansion plan and how you are planning to take this organization? As I told you before, I am negotiating with, just now before I came, I had a conference call with one of my principals. We are negotiating with some of the Sri Lankan government entities to do a development there. It's a completely different technology of power generation or whatever. More environment. I'm always into environmental friendly equipment. So we are looking at it, and if that happens, then yes, we will take it around the Asian region. We are also looking at discussing with one Indian party to do the development as well there. So that is where I want to go. Into more energy saving. I mean, the PV systems and these are individualized. You know, the individual has to think of it, but it doesn't make a big impact into the economy or into the environment unless the government does something. So if we are to go into the next step, it has to be to change it into a bigger way, which I hope we should be able to do something with the help of some professors from the Moratuwa University who have been helping us out to develop it. So hopefully within the next couple of months we should have, in fact I have a conference, I just got an email saying that there is a conference in June. It so happened that I am going back to Sri Lanka in June for the Eid holidays, and also it just coincided with that trip. So you're planning to go global?
We do. I'm sitting here. We do projects. We have done projects in Singapore. We have done projects in Malaysia, in Thailand. From here we have done projects. But yes, this one, it will be a different field, not a field, but a different step altogether. It will be into a different level of development. And we are also, some of the local small equipment which we are having, we are in the process of bringing it semi-finished and doing the finishing or the final production and the commissioning here. So that should be happening by end of the year. I'm just getting the equipment and the material for that to develop the products here. So we are...
more trading company?
No. I've always, I mean, though I was a trading company, I always used to do something innovative with the products. That is why I always combined my products together, so that I have always kept my suppliers, all my suppliers know each other. The guy from US knows the guy from Italy, he knows the guy from Australia, he knows the guy from Germany. And I make sure that once a year at least they come here, meet together, we have a, lunch or whatever, and have a brainstorming session where each one, because it makes, how I look at it, it makes my life easier if I can combine all 5 products together and put something out. I only have to tell the guy from US, Bruce, speak to Luigi and try and sort it out. So they will break their heads and get it. I'm sitting, I put them together, it's their problem. They break their heads and they get there. They are the experts of it. So I've always done it. So all my projects are a combination of all this equipment, which if another supplier has to do that, it finds it very difficult because he can't find 5 suppliers to get together. So yes, we were a trading company, but in a different way. We used to do some unique products. The finished product is something different from what you get in the market. So now we are trying to do it, manufacture it locally itself, not fully, but at least 25% manufacturing plant to start off with. So that would probably start end of the year.
Thank you very much, Mr. Suresh. I think there might be more questions.
He had some question, I can't. Same one. Oh, okay.
So on behalf of all my batchmates and doctor, I would like to thank you for taking time to come and share your experience and also to inspire all of us. Your story has given us like insights into how to succeed and not to lose focus. And hopefully we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Sri Lanka would be able to make use of your talent and to bring betterment to the country as well. So we are proud of you and want to thank you very much, and would like to invite you to enjoy a cup of tea with us. So it will give us the other colleagues, if they have more questions, clarifications, they could talk.
Thank you. I won't say no to a cup of tea. Thank you very much.